For many decades now, foreign visitors especially have come to this area to find out what they can about a shocking episode in World War II. It was the building of the Burma-Thailand Railway, and the film that was made about that episode, The Bridge over the River Kwai, helped make this area particularly famous to foreign people. Mind you, this area is also very popular as a day visit for Thai people as well. The bridge is still there, somewhat rebuilt, but it still exists, and it's very popular as a daytime excursion for Thais and a point of great interest for foreign visitors as well. As is the museum beside the war cemetery, a solemn but beautiful place. What is perhaps less known is the fact that part of the railway line still exists, and you can take a day trip on it. It's something well worth doing for the beauty of the scenery as well as the significance of the remarkable history associated with this railway line here at Kanchanaburi. The train is soon at its most significant stop, right by the river and the bridge that gave its name to one of the most famous stories from World War II as it was experienced in this part of Asia. There are always passengers keen to make the crossing by train or on foot on the bridge over the River Kwai. This bridge is clearly not the huge timber structure that prisoners of war constructed at the direction of the Japanese armed forces in the 1940s. But historic photographs do show that this more permanent bridge was built in that same era. And was heavily bombed in Allied airstrikes. The rail tracks also date from the war years, this part of the line to Burma having been retained after the war, but now terminating near legendary Hellfire Pass in Thailand. The scenery here long ago returned to a post-war calm. The magnificent river at the center of the famous war stories now attracts holidaymakers to its banks. And from the train, views of the river reveal its meandering flow through a rich countryside. The farms here and vegetation are often set against a rugged mountain background. And there's always a temple at the forefront of life in this western region of Thailand. For today's leisure travellers, this train trip is intended to evoke an earlier period of more Spartan surroundings, and at a slower pace at that. And many visitors from other countries reflect on the effort and manpower that built the track in the early 1940s, forced labour of the war years, and the massive loss of life among the enslaved prisoners of war. The reason it became known as the Death Railway. There are stops too for those who would linger by the river, and for others who have arranged to enter the countryside on foot and to investigate caves in the escarpment nearby. For travellers from countries where train travel is really quite luxurious, travelling on this in fairly hard wooden chairs is an authentic experience. We've arrived at Nam Tok, meaning waterfall, but the MIC has been inverted along the way. But these are the little things that make travel in a country other than your own a very interesting experience. The train now returns to Kanchanaburi, and it's an area that any visitor to Thailand should really make note of and be a part of for a few days. The train trip at Kanchanaburi is a piece of living history, a story that reaches into the psyche of many travellers, Asians and Europeans, Australians and Americans. It's a relic of the war in the Pacific and its deep reach into Asia, and the way in which peace was eventually restored and inherited.